Hello, my name is Ronnie. I will be the chef running the Kai Food Organics at Luminate this year's festival. First of all, thank you for jumping in and helping us starting the sauerkraut. It's really something that needs to be done now, sooner than later, so it can ferment and develops its flavor. Sauerkraut is the kind of thing that it does get better with time. So yeah, I appreciate your help. Thank you very much for jumping in and helping us doing that. I hope the audio is not too bad. I just moved to this new house and the lighting here in the kitchen is terrible, so I hope you don't mind about that too. But let's just go through the process of making sauerkraut. That's the most important thing about this video. So I have a whole bunch of cabbages that I bought. They're all purple. And the first thing of the process is to slice out the cabbage. Okay, so first of all, what you're gonna do is I will get out the cabbages and I will remove the stalk or the centerpiece, and it's good to just break down the process into stages. So don't start the next step until you have all these stalks removed. Okay? As you go removing the stalks, you can remove those outer leaves and put them aside for composting. They're not really good on the sauerkraut. If there's anything too greeny, you put it aside, okay? So like this is a very green leaf, you see, I remove that, put it aside, and start slicing the cabbage itself, okay? So, but before you start slicing, it's always good to get your big, large plastic container and weigh it up. You want to know how much your container weighs. So when you have finished slicing out the cabbage, you can work it out how much sliced cabbage you actually have. So here I have 1.8 kilos of plastic on this container. So what I'm gonna do is weigh it up and then start slicing it all. Just keep slicing it all. And after you have finished slicing it all, you're gonna know how much cabbage you have, and this will tell you how much beetroots, apples, and other ingredients you're gonna need. So get those ingredients and start processing. First the beetroot, peel it all. Beetroots, they need to be grated. So if you are using the food processor, then change the disc, the attachment of the food processor, to a grating disc, not to a slicing one like you used for the cabbage, but for a grating disc. Okay. Then do the same with the apple. If you are using the food processor, what you probably are, just remove the cores, and then we will mix everything together in this big plastic container and start massaging it. A lot of water is going to start coming out of the cabbage. These juices are very, very important. We need to keep it. So start mixing everything up into the large container and just mix it well. Mix it very, very, very well. So after you have give those ingredients a good rub, a thing that I recommend you to do is just to leave it for maybe 10 minutes. The salt will act upon the cabbage regardless if you are squeezing it or not. You can just carry on and doing it, but it's really not necessary. Especially thinking about how much volume you're going to be making down there. So just give it a really good rub until everything is mixed through. All the salt is all dissolved, and all the apples and beetroots are all through the cabbage. And once you're happy with how well it is all mixed up, then leave it for 10 minutes or so. The salt will start acting, and then we can come back and give it like a second really strong good rub. And the second rub, you want to grab it, turn and squeeze and rip and pull things apart and mush it with your hands, and that's what's really gonna help the cells to break down and the water to start coming out. Okay, we can't jump into the next step, that's packing into the fermenting vessel, until you have the cabbage dripping wet. So once you get like 2 handfuls of cabbage and you squeeze and you get some drips, then it's time to go ahead to the next step and start packing into the fermenting vessel. Okay, so now the cabbage is drippy, we're going to start packing into the fermenting vessel. Okay, so basically what you're going to do, you're just going to put it in there, and as you go, just use your fist to push it down. Okay? Keep on doing it, putting a little bit and pressing, and putting a little bit and pressing and pressing. And you're gonna notice that as you press down, a lot of the juice is gonna come up, and that's normal, that's what you want. After you have come up to a certain height, you don't want to go over 100 ml from the top of the ring. You just use the last of the juices and top it up. Don't discard that, okay? So now it's very important that you do not overfill this bucket. You want to leave about 150 ml. This is about like the length of my meat finger, okay? Below the top of the bucket. This whole thing is gonna expand as the CO2 builds up, and it may overflow if it's too full. So right now we're gonna leave it like this. We're gonna use some of the outer leaves of the cabbage. So I go back to my compost bucket, I select some outer leaves, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this as a cover, like this. This is going to act as a barrier that will protect the fermenting food below. So any outer leaves, it doesn't matter if they're green or not, they can be used in here. So normally I just use the outer leaves to do this. And then on top of that, I will put my plate, okay? And I will press it. So I have the lid for the container, okay? And what I'm gonna do here, instead of putting something heavy on top of this, I will put like a ramekin, okay? A ramekin or something, that will fit here, but it's not gonna poke too much over the top. So as I put the lid over it, I'm gonna apply, the lid gonna be applying a gentle pressure, pretty much just keeping things in the level they are, okay? I'm not putting any hard pressure, but I'm not allowing the cabbage to expand too much and overflow. And instead of like fully tidying it, completely sealing it, the bucket, I'm just gonna close one end and the other. So there is pressure on it, but as you can see, it's this part here, the gases can still escape from this end and this end, but on these ends here, the lid is tight, okay? And normally those buckets will hold that pretty well. Because of the amount of cabbage that you're gonna be processing, I recommend you to have a large compost container as well, so you can put all your offcuts and all the stuff that you don't want, like small bits and bobs, into this compost container or pig food container, call it whatever you will. But yeah, it's very important to have a large one around you while you're doing this process. I do recommend you as well to get some music going. All this took me about an hour and a half to do, and this is only 7 kilos. You're probably going to be making 10 times that. I not say that's going to take you 10 hours, 10 times the amount of hours it took me, 15 hours actually. Probably not going to take you 15 hours because it's not really, the process is not accumulative in time. But it will take you several hours. I would think that you're probably going to be stuck in the kitchen for at least 6 hours. So, yep, get in the vibe, get in the zone, keep things clean as you go because it's a lot of cabbage and things can get out of hand real quick. So once you start getting a little bit, annoyed about how things are in the kitchen, just stop, have a sip of water, cup of tea, clean it up, and start from where you stopped. Because yeah, it's a lot of cabbage and it can get out of hand real quick. So yeah, just take time, put some tunes on, enjoy it. Alright, so that's it. Here is the final product. And this is 7 kilos. 7 kilos of it. It took me a whole bucket to make 7 kilos. So you're probably going to need about 10 of those. Okay? So the pressure is being applied on the corners. Here you can, as you can see, you can still open it. This has to be kept, you keep that in a dark, safe place, away from sunlight, a place that there's no insects or minks or mouse or, although I don't think no one gonna be able to get in here. Again, thank you very much for helping us. I'm looking forward to meet you, shaking your hand and give you a nice hug. Appreciate your help. I can't thank you enough, really. Alright, I hope that was clear enough. If you have any doubts, flick me a mail.